4-bit or 16-bit quantization for your LLM. If you have no idea what that means, you're exactly the person I am actually recording this video for. But if you can tell the difference, well, don't waste your time. You probably won't find anything new here, but of course you are really very welcome to stay with me and hang out during this video. So last week I was speaking at an event about modern AI architecture and its use on consumer devices, things like your Android or your iPhone. And I've got hit with the same question over and over again, which is, what actually is local AI and do I actually need it? So if you're curious about that, or you're simply tired of paying like monthly subscriptions, or you're worried about your private data living in a giant cloud somewhere, this video is actually for you. I am Dmitry Samoilov. I build tools to make AI useful and, most importantly for me, human-friendly. And today we're going to demystify local AI. But before we dive into the how, we need to understand the what. To understand about AI, you first to understand what an LLM actually is. Think of an LLM, a large language model, as a brain. It's just a massive file that contains billions of different parameters, basically a giant map of human knowledge. But a brain itself can't do much if it doesn't have a body, actually the same as we are. So to actually use AI, you need two things. One is the brain, the LLM file, and two, the container, the application that lets you talk to it. When you use, for example, ChatGPT or Gemini, you're using Cloud AI, the complete system itself. It's like having a super smart assistant who lives in a skyscraper. To work, they need to stay connected to the internet. They are incredibly smart, but they also a little bit of gossip. And they remember everything you tell to them to improve their service by training on your information, essentially. So you feed in their brain with your own data while simply talking to it. Local AI is completely different story. Local AI is like having somewhat that smart assistant, but they forget everything that you don't want them to remember. They don't need to have internet, they don't need to talk to anyone else except you. So basically what you say stays between you and the device itself. Once you realize that you won't run this brain on your own machine and you start to set it up, you're going to start seeing a lot of weird numbers and configs and settings in the internet and different forums. And at first, it's really hard to understand what is what all of this jargon means, but trust me, I went through this and it's really not that complicated. I will try to cover everything very simply here. So first, what you need to know is what is quantization. So think of it as a JPEG image, right? So it's a high quality, uncompressed photo, but it takes up a huge amount of space on your machine. A compressed JPEG is a much smaller and faster version, but of course you lose a little bit of details. Quantization is how we shrink the AI brain so it fits on your laptop or phone. So 4-bit model is highly compressed. It's fast and small, but it's a little less smart and sometimes more unpredictable. 16-bit model is the full uncompressed version, and it's extremely brilliant, but it requires a massive amount of memory compared to 4-bit compressed model, for example. So I would hardly suggest you to go with 16-bit if possible. Second, the temperature. This is, you can think, as a creativity slider. If you set it to 0, the AI becomes very robotic and factual. It will almost always give you the same answer. But if you turn it up high, the AI gets more creative, I should say, and sometimes, yeah, like a little bit wild. It's like, turning up the house level in your brain. And the third one, it's the context window. This is the AI's short-term memory. Basically, it's how much information the model can keep in mind at one time while you're talking to it. If the window is too small, the AI just will forget what you said at the beginning and you will not be able to do much with that, to be honest. I would say that 32,000 tokens of a context window is the bare minimum of what you need if you really want to try to do anything meaningful with the model. But it's not just about the bits and the temperature, it's not just about the math, it's about how it changes the way you actually feel when you interact with local model instead of the cloud. There is a benefit to local AI that people don't really talk about enough. It's about your mental freedom. When I personally use cloud AI, there is always the tiny bit of friction in my head. Very often I found myself thinking, should I say it like this? Is it too personal to share? Because of all of that gets recorded. Will it be used to train an advertisement algorithm later, for example? And then I start to correct myself. I stop to be in raw. I don't say exactly what's on my mind because I'm subconsciously worried about the digital footprint I'm going to leave behind. With local AI, that friction disappears for me because you know that nothing is leaving the device. You can be 100% honest, you can be messy, you can be vulnerable. It's generally a very good feeling. I've experienced this personally recently. I used a local model to analyze really huge amount of my own health data. Things like blood tests, sleep patterns, and some other sensitive medical notes that I have over the years. Because I wanted to turn that raw amount of data into a structured report so I could easily take it and discuss it with my doctor. I would never upload this kind of sensitive info to a cloud provider. The risk is just too high. But with local AI, I could be completely honest. It allowed me to do and to get the truth without the fear of my most private and sensitive data being stored on a corporate server. So later I can get extremely targeted and useful advertisement. But don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that cloud UI is evil and should be abandoned. It's simply not true. There are many use cases where it makes way more sense to prefer cloud AI over local. My goal here rather is just to show you that the other side is also exists and it's extremely good already today. So on that note, if the benefits of the running your own LLM locally is the incredible mental freedom and privacy, how do you actually choose which size of model you need to use? I categorized local AI into 4 tiers for you. Tier 1 is the dump Intern. Yeah, so its models up to 4 billion parameters. They are very tiny models, they're incredibly fast and they're easy to run on almost any modern hardware, probably even on your mobile phone that you're watching this video on. But they aren't really smart, should I say. They're just really good pattern matching machines. They're perfect for simple repetitive tasks. For example, I use a tier 1 model here on my phone to solve a personal problem that I have. You see, I just hate typing while I'm working with my dog, and I even can't do this while I'm driving a car. So I created an app to record my voice memos, and the tier 1 model listened to my messy voice notes. It cleans up all of my ums and ahs and weird duplicates and repeats, then turns it into polished notes so I can back to my clear and structured memo later when I need. So it's not like genius model, but it can be very efficient like secretary when you need it. Second tier is tier 2, the study buddy. Yeah, so this is from 12 to 16 billion parameters. This is the sweet spot for most laptops and PCs today. Tier 2 models are smart enough to actually brainstorm some ideas with you and do some simple agentic tasks. They're also very fast to feel like real conversation you're having with a chatbot. Tier 3, the professionals. So starting with 26 billion parameters, this is where real intelligence starts to show up. These models can handle complex reasoning and multi-step tasks. They can read a huge document, find a specific needle in a haystack and summarize it perfectly for you. This is actually my daily driver on this machine and an example about my health data analysis that I mentioned earlier. I did use Queen 3.6, 27 billion parameters model with 16 bits of quantization for this on this exact machine. And I should say that I use this model probably for the 90% of my day-to-day tasks. So it's really good. I like the sun. It didn't ruin the picture. Sorry for that, but let's proceed. And coming to the last one, it's tier 4, the final boss, 70 plus billion parameters. This is the God mode territory. These models are incredible in math, science, and complex coding. They're comparable to GPT-4 and higher in Claude Opus, but they are very, very heavy models. To run this at home, you're looking at very expensive high-end hardware. Most people probably won't reach this level of consumer hardware, I think, like for the next couple of years. But if you need, you can build a custom PC for a couple of $1,000 probably to be able to run these models at home. And when you do, you will be simply unstoppable. You see, local AI is move towards privacy, speed, and most importantly, freedom. You don't need to be a computer scientist to start. Whether you're using a small model on your phone or a medium model on your laptop to brainstorm, the technology is already here. The trend is clearly moving towards powerful chips on our mobile devices. So very soon your phone or laptop won't be just a device. It will be a private intelligence, hopefully assistant that knows you and helps you, but never tells your secrets to anyone else, if of course it's done properly. So this is it, what you need to know, I believe, to be able to decide whether like running local AI is something that you can benefit from or not. And if you found this helpful, let me know in the comments. Really, I'm truly interested to know my audience here and people who watch like this exact video. Are you running AI locally already, or are you still living in a cloud with cloud providers? And by the way, if you want to know about the private voice note to text applications that I mentioned earlier, hit the subscribe button and leave a comment, private note, so I will know about that. That's it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.